Once upon a time, there were two friends who had been inseparable since childhood. They grew up in the same village, went to the same school, and shared every secret, fear, and dream with each other. People in the village often said their friendship was unbreakable. At the age of 15, their bond was still strong, though their personalities had started to differ. One of them, Ion, was brave, curious, and always eager to prove himself. The other, Hamza, was kind-hearted but fearful, often letting his imagination run wild when faced with the unknown. Despite this, Ion always reassured him, promising that he would never leave his side. Since childhood, both boys had heard terrifying stories about an abandoned house on the outskirts of their village. It had been locked and deserted for many years. No one dared to go near it, not even during the daytime. Villagers claimed strange sounds echoed from inside. Children laughing, footsteps in empty halls, and sometimes the shadow of a woman appearing behind broken windows. Many believed the house was cursed. One evening, while sitting together near the fields, Ion brought up the abandoned house again. He laughed at the villagers' fear and said all those stories were nothing but superstition. Hamza tried to change the topic, but Ion insisted. He wanted to prove that the house was harmless and that fear only existed in people's minds. After much hesitation, Hamza finally agreed. That night, at around 11:30 p.m., the two friends quietly left their homes and walked toward the abandoned house. The moon was hidden behind dark clouds, and the wind carried an unsettling silence. As they stood in front of the house, its broken walls and rusted gate made Hamza's heart race. Inside, the house was covered in darkness and thick layers of dust. Cobwebs hung from the ceilings, and the air felt cold and heavy. Hamza clutched Ion's arm, whispering that they should leave. Ion smiled confidently and assured him everything was fine. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed through the house as if a book had fallen to the floor. Both boys froze in fear. Their breathing grew heavy as Ion slowly pointed the torch toward the sound. It was only a rat running across the room. Relieved, they laughed nervously, convincing themselves there was nothing to fear. Gathering courage, they began climbing the old wooden staircase leading upstairs, unaware that this decision would change their lives forever. As the two friends climbed the stairs, each step creaked loudly beneath their feet. The staircase was old and fragile, worn down by time and neglect. Hamza held onto the railing tightly, his legs trembling with every step. Ion went ahead, still pretending to be fearless, though even his confidence was beginning to fade. Halfway up the stairs, disaster struck. A wooden step suddenly cracked under Hamza's weight. Before he could scream, the staircase gave way, and he fell hard to the floor below. The sound echoed through the house like a scream itself. Hamza cried out in pain, begging Ion for help. "Ion, please don't leave me. I can't move," he shouted desperately. Ion rushed down a few steps and saw Hamza lying on the dusty floor, injured and terrified. For a moment, he hesitated. Strange whispers filled the air, and the torchlight flickered. Fear took control of his mind. His heart pounded as dark thoughts consumed him. What if something was really here? What if this house was cursed? Instead of helping his friend, Ion turned around and ran. Hamza watched helplessly as Ion disappeared into the darkness, leaving him alone in the cursed house. His screams echoed through the halls until silence slowly swallowed them. Ion ran all the way back to the village, breathless and shaken. When villagers questioned him about Hamza, he lied, trembling with fear. He claimed he didn't know what had happened and that they had separated earlier. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Hamza was never found. 2 years passed, Guilt haunted Ion every night. He saw Hamza's face in his dreams, heard his screams in the wind, and felt watched wherever he went. The abandoned house still stood silently. Hasivoyete. One night, unable to bear the guilt anymore, Ion decided to return to the house. He wanted answers. He wanted peace. As he stepped inside, the same cold air wrapped around him. The house felt alive, breathing with dark energy. Slowly, he walked upstairs, his heart pounding louder with every step than he saw. Italiano. In the center of the upper room, something hung from the ceiling. His blood turned cold. Hanging from the ceiling was Hamza's lifeless body, suspended in the air as if time itself had stopped. His clothes were torn, his face pale and his eyes wide open, staring directly at Ion. The rope creaked softly, swaying as though moved by an unseen force. Ion collapsed to his knees, unable to breathe. "This isn't real. This can't be real," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. Suddenly, the room grew darker. The air became heavy, and the temperature dropped sharply. Hamza's body slowly began to move on its own. The rope snapped. The body dropped to the floor. Ion tried to run, but his legs refused to move. Before he could scream, Hamza stood up, no longer human, no longer alive. His voice echoed unnaturally through the room. "You left me here, too." Ion begged for forgiveness, crying uncontrollably. But it was too late. Hamza's spirit lunged forward, gripping Ion by the throat. The walls trembled as the house seemed to come alive. Ion struggled, gasping for air, as his vision slowly faded. In his final moments, he realized the truth. Fear didn't kill his friend. Betrayal did. By morning, villagers found the house silent. Once again, no one ever saw Ion after that night. The abandoned house remains standing to this day, untouched and feared. Some say that if you pass by late at night, you can still hear two voices inside, one crying for help and the other begging for forgiveness, because some sins never die and some places never forget.